Hello everybody, welcome back to a new Wings of Dawn update. I hope you guys are having a good one. I'm sorry this is coming out so late, but I was doing Metro and I was doing The Long Dark, which will be a new series, and then pretty soon I will start the Wolf Among Us. So that'll be a fun one. I did find out what was wrong with Metro, why it was stuttering so much. I fixed that issue, and then once we hit Metro Exodus, I will fix that issue again. So, you know, that'll be fun. Um, you know what? I'll check that later. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. It is the long-awaited time of King Creature Spotlight today. Today, we have quite the chunky update with a lot of dragon content, work in progress future customization options for the Icy Crown character section, and 2 brand new Valhad skins. More progression, spider berries. Nika has been working on some more environmental things. The spiderberry bush was showcased in one of our previous weekly development updates. Now they have fruits. They're growing on short bushes during summer. At first glance, they may resemble large gooseberries, but their peel is covered in thick, hard hair that can irritate human throats. Dragons can eat them whole. The berry itself looks peculiar. It is semi-transparent, jelly-like, and purple, with 3 large seeds visible through the gelatinous fruit. Despite its looks, spiderberry are very tasty, sweet with a hint of sour. Humans often prepare a beverage from fermented spiderberries for courage and good humor. Dragons may want to stay away from fallen fermented fruits they can find on the ground. If dragons ingest large amounts of fermented fruits, they may find it hard to fly or even walk, making them an easy target for humans, predators, and other dragons. So be careful, your dragon might get drunk. You get to see the partially peeled fruit. Partially peeled fruit with seeds right here, the 3 seeds. Size is similar to a quail egg, so it's pretty small. You see the fruits hanging from branches similar to grapes, so they hang from like a vine almost. So they're kind of like kiwis, I guess. Very cool. So the reason you see all of these done is because I thought I was recording earlier, but I was in fact not. New Truffle 3D model sheet. Our lead concept artist, Viteris, has completed the 3D model sheet for the Truffle, our large herbivorous acid dragon. To all who are new, we create these 3D model sheets to help speed up the modeling process of our creatures, forming an efficient and swift pace for the creation progress. So let's take a look at the Truffle. We're going to zoom in a little bit. Sorry if it takes a second. Mesh may be extended like a yellow area to allow for thicker fur appearances. Right here, you see that? So it looks a lot thicker than it actually is. Right here is the membrane thickness right here. You get a back hump like a bison. So you refer to bison for back humps. You get to see the top and the sides right here. Very thick animal. I noticed that it has a thumb spike, almost like an iguanodon, which actually was one of my ideas. I specifically talked about how one of the devs brought up if they changed the Truffle, what would they add? And I suggested that they make the animal bulkier and they give it an almost like an iguanodon, like thumb spike, so it could defend itself on the ground, because the hands did not look good for defending on the old model, as you can see right here. They looked very stocky, whereas these ones look muscled, so you get to see the thumb spike right here, almost like an iguanodon. However, the hands are more ceratopsian back feet, I want to say, instead of the hoof like appendages. But yeah, let's continue on. So the Truffle throat pouch expands outwards like a frog, and the nose does the same. So I wonder if it'll sing or if it'll... Sorry about that. There's a dog barking in the background. So I wonder if it'll sing or if it'll croak like a frog. All right, let's take a look. It is a big, chunky lad. The underside of spurs has holes that injects toxins, so these guys will be able to shank you with their claws and inject the toxins from their thumbs. So it's kind of like a needle almost. You to see the hind legs. Up here, we see a truffle giving a Vulcan a dose of toxins after it was briefly stunned from biting it. In this matchup, Vulcans are taller in stance and bear sharp acids, with the plus of flight. However, Truffles, being a fully grounded creature, is a thicker and denser animal, utilizing raw strength to make up for that lack of flight. So this guy basically bit onto the Truffle, got a mouthful of acid, and then the Truffle took the chance to just shank the dude while he's down. And you get to see little baby ones right here. And then you get to see it browsing from the trees, kind of like a hadrosaur or an iguanodont, where it rise up on its hind legs and use its hands and claws to help bring down trees. Very cool. Female dimorphism, downward crest, shorter cheek spikes, optional, larger back hump. Then you get a possible underwater grazing similar to moose because the nostrils are up here on top instead of down here at the nose, at the tip of the beak like it would be for a hadrosaur. So it's more like a moose or maybe a crocodile. Shoots acid from the nose, and the nose inflates and contracts when firing. And then you see the old model right here. I did notice it was really, really thin. So I'm happy that they bulked that up. I mean, look at that. Complete difference. This dude is starving. This dude looks well fed. I'm a big fan. So big fan of the Truffle. I may play that. I'll probably play every dragon, but the Truffle looks like probably one of my acid picks. I would pick that. The new Valhad skins. Our leading skin artist, who is not showing up because OBS is on, has been cooking things. There are 2 brand new skins in total, with the crowdfunding backer exclusive William skin and the very all-time favorite pigment mutation albinism skin. Let's begin our skin showcase with the William skin. This is the crowdfunding backer exclusive skin for the Indiegogo backers, which is going on. Link will be in the description if you want to go check that out. This skin can be obtained through supporting and backing us on Indiegogo. A very beautiful and yet elegant skin, inspired off of our game mascot, the Williams, which is a little frog dragon. I love the blue coloration on the edge of the wings, on the chest right here, and the neck. And you get to see it on the horns too. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. It also looks like they're in the swamp area or the marshland. But I love this. Big fan of this. You get a close-up of the face right here. Very good. Very good. Don't know why I'm being tagged again. Mark that as red. Get the wings right here. Very beautiful looking. Very beautiful looking. Again, big fan. Big fan of the blue colorations at the edges. It looks very natural. I love that. And with the ribcage spread out, it looks even more intimidating, which I'm a big fan of. I do think there could be a little more blue on the back of the neck. Just a little bit. Just a little bit more blue. Then you have the outstretched wings. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. See, you can see it in the arms, but on the top of the neck, you can't really see much of the blue except for on the sides. Maybe that'll change once you get a better view. However, I'm a big fan of the William skin, surprising no one. Oh, is that the Path of Titan Sarcosuchus? I love that little guy. Sorry, my throat hurts. The second skin is one of the few pigment mutations planned for the game. One of the most popular, too, with albinism, or also known as the albino. Very, nice. It reminds me of a rat. Like with the pink coloration on the feet and the wings, and then you have the white fluffy coat right here, and then the eyes. The red eyes. Looks like a skeleton almost in the face. And then you get the horns right here. Red eyes. Very strange. I like it. I probably won't use it that much. I'll use the Williams skin. I won't use this one. The pink coloration is pretty good on this, though. It looks very natural. So it does look like it would sunburn easily. Progression on the Icy Crown 2.0 model. Static has been very active with sculpting, modeling, and working on the brand new glow up of our beloved Icy Wyvern. We have been showcasing active development of the model and sculpting process over on our Patreon. Recently, in our last Sunday development livestream, we chose to showcase some of the possible character customization options for the Icy Crown. Firstly, though, let's take a look at the comparison between the new model, top, and the old Icy Crown model, bottom. That is a very big jump in quality. Wouldn't you agree? Very wonderful looking. I'm a big fan of the new face. Big fan. I did think the nose spec was a little too much, but now it's like this. It looks a lot more natural. It almost looks like a beak, almost, and I'm a big fan of that. I kind of miss the throat thing. I kind of hope this throat still does it, where it's able to expand and contract so it can communicate. Also want to point out the fur will be added later. Also notice that it looks like owl feet right here, or actually more like a hawk. And I'm a big fan of that. I really hope you can actually like swoop down on animals and grab them with the talons right here, the hawk-like talons, and then you'd be able to take off with them. Needless to say, I'm going to be pillaging some farms. Oh, excuse me, sorry. I like the body is very lengthened. So you have a much longer body and a much longer tail. And the tail looks way more savage looking. I like it a lot. Also notice that the fins right here are a lot more rigid. This is probably because it's T-posing, but they're a lot more rigid than over here. I like the chest spikes are pointing downwards instead of upwards too. That looks very cool. Again, big fan of the new face. Big fan of that. And then we get to see the side-by-side. The wings are a lot larger on this new model. And the body is a lot smaller, which is something you see in a lot of flying animals like bats, birds, and pterosaurs. You see that a lot. Very cool. I'm a big fan of the new Icy Crown. I'm a big fan. I do kind of miss the silhouette of the old Icy Crown, but that's okay. I'm sure I'll get used to this one pretty quick. And you get to see it above. Now, I mentioned this before. I liked that the Icy Crown had the wings here, but it looks like this one's wings are extending much further down, which is really good. Because for some reason, in a lot of dragon and monster movies and stuff like that, they always start the wing right here and then move out, like Skyrim. Skyrim does that with their dragons, and it does not look good. It doesn't. I like that the wings actually extend and attach to the body because that makes sense for flying animals. You see that in bats and in pterosaurs. The wings would have connected to the body. I do think this is maybe a little too small, but that's just personal opinion. That's just a little nitpick. Otherwise, it looks great. I love this new Icy Crown. I love it a lot. It looks a lot more aerodynamic compared to the old one. Progression on the Icy Crown's future fur options. Viteris is helping us through ideas on future customization aspects for the Icy Crown. Here are a couple ideas on possible fur placement around the Icy Wyvern's body area. So you get the generic around the neck, the shoulders, the back, and then to the tail. Big fan of this one. You get the collar, which is kind of like a bearded vulture. Or a vulture in general, actually. Not a bearded vulture, but a vulture in general. You know, around the neck. It's the back a little bit. You get this tail coat, which is kind of like a mohawk for the body. That's kind of cursed, huh? And then you have the hood right here. The hood. Not really a fan of the hood, but that's okay. These are work in progress. These might not even happen, but I think the hood should have maybe a little bit more down the back, maybe a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more. And then it should extend out a little more to make it look more hyena-like, maybe. That's just personal opinion, of course. And then you have the fur on the legs. Not really a fan of that. I'm going to be honest with you. Not really a fan. But that's okay. Progression on the Icy Crown's horn option. As previously mentioned, Sadek has worked on some possible character customizations for the Icy Crown. We have made a handful of different horn options and horn variations, for a player to choose from. These are all work in progress and will be touched upon later. These are just a couple of examples for starters. So we have the standard horns. These are your regular horns. So, I don't know if they'll change them for gender, perhaps, but I think this is just typical Icy Crown. Just normal. Again, big fan of the new face. It looks really good. This guy looks like he can take on a Vulcan. I almost see Tyrannosaur in this a little bit. Like the Tyrannosaurus. But like in a good way. It denotes a very... Denotes? What am I saying? It's like a very powerful jaw type. This one almost seems Tarbosaurus-like, where it's still bulked out, but not as bulky as something like the Vulcan. I'm a big fan of it. I'm a big fan of this new face. But yeah, with the Tyrannosaur type bite, you can actually see it here, actually, where you get the nose bump, and then you get the tip of the jaw right here, powerful nostrils, and then you get that curve. And it's really beautiful looking on Tyrannosaurs, and especially on the Icy Crown right now, it's pretty beautiful looking. I'm a big fan of the lower jaw too. I do think it's a little too much spikes. I think 2 would have been enough, maybe. But that's just personal opinion, of course. Big fan of the horns, though. Big fan of the horns over here. So we have the standard. We have the ridged, which kind of remind me of those, the swords. You know, like the whip swords. I forgot what they're called, but they remind me of the swords that turn into whips. That's pretty cool. They're very curly, too. I'm a big fan of that. And then we get the forked horns, which is kind of more of your traditional looking dragon horns. Very wonderful looking. You can actually see multiple branches of the horns right here. It's kind of like the antlers of a deer. Sometimes you get individual variations where they'll just be random bits growing off of the horns. I'm a big fan of this one. I love this one. I kind of hope we get to keep these ones. And then this is the end of the video. The campaign progress is 123% funded. I actually think it's actually... Sorry about that. I thought I heard someone say a name back there. But that's okay. 123% funded, which I think right now it's actually 125. I might be wrong though. But yeah, pretty crazy. Pretty insane stuff. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Even if you didn't, that's perfectly fine. We all have our different opinions on everything. Like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. It's completely free. But yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. I hope you have a wonderful day. Peace. Oh, wait. The links to everything will be in the description. So if you want to check everything out, feel free. But yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Hope you have a wonderful day. And if you didn't like it, that's perfectly fine. We all have our personal opinions on everything. But yeah, catch you in the next one. Peace.